seconds left to goodbye. I guess I'll see you around. Take a hand and follow. No one understands. Cause I sold out of the shadows. There much too late. Negativity, I see you on the other side of tomorrow. Tomorrow. Return favor. No thank you, man, I'm done with this flavor. The time has come to return favor. No thank you, man, I'm done with this flavor. The time has come to try another one tomorrow. Try another one tomorrow. Stand before this mighty world, I take it in and see it out. Fills me up with all its worth, the multitude of things. And I love for what it gives to me, the solitude of soul. Although it's all that even though, that even I can try another one. Try another one. Try another one. Return favor. No thank you, man, I'm done with this flavor. The time has come to
Greetings, all you wonderful people out there in YouTube land. I hope you're all having a fantastic day wherever you are. Thank you for being here. This is going to be I think a different kind of podcast to what I normally have. Firstly, I think it might be a long one because I'm going to be speaking to Beretta Owens. Dave Owens. Dave. Okay. I've known Dave for a hell of a long time, right? And he is an all-round nice fella. He really is. He's a good guitarist. He's devilishly handsome as hell, let me tell you. He's got a lot of tattoos. I like that. Yeah. All right. So the music that you heard in the intro, that is all Lithium. You've heard it. I've played it before I started my streams and such. And in the description below, you'll find the link to David's solo stuff, to Dave's stuff with Lithium, Facebook, Instagram, and whatever else. That's in the description below. You guys know what to do, right? Oh, yes, indeed. Mr. David Owens is coming up right now. I hope you guys are ready, because this is going to be an entertaining conversation. And Dave. It's true, isn't it, Dave?
Yes.
Yes, it's true, isn't it, Dave? It's true, isn't it, Dave? Dave.
I'm hearing a win.
Yeah, you're live now, Dave. Can you not hear? Maybe turn your YouTube. Maybe turn the YouTubies off.
It's a lag.
Yeah, I know. There's a lag. Turn your YouTube off, man. It'll work better that way.
Got you, bro. Sorry.
Yeah,
it's 50. I'm like technically inept. I apologize. You'd think by now I would know how these things
you would have thought that, you being you would have known what to press and how to be, right?
No, I've always been a bit of a klutz. I can use computers to design and do these things, but like from a techie point, I've always been a bit slack.
Dave, it's always good to see you.
You too, my friend.
it's a bit strange. It's very strange. I mean,
But this is how we exist now online, right?
Well,
most of the time, this is how we operate.
This is also very true. There's a couple of people in chat that are musicians and are interested in the music of primarily Lithium, because what I do is, prior to my streams, as you just seen, I just play some music and let people get into the stream and chill out and relax and stuff like that. Now, I've been using...
You have to play the Guilty from the Broken album, though, dude.
We're going to get into a whole lot of stuff.
I cringe a little bit.
But dude, you know what?
I know. I have to let it go.
You just have to absorb and take it in. It's fine. Yeah. Okay.
It's like it was a moment in time. And
1995, right?
Yes.
Dude, that's a long time ago, man.
I just feel like
it's ridiculous.
I feel like I'm a better singer now, a better vocalist now.
Yeah, but there are reasons for that, and we'll go into that.
Yeah,
we'll go into that. But what I was saying at the very top there was that I've been playing Lithium music ahead of most of my streams that involve fast-paced action, like racing games and stuff like that. So I've been playing a whole bunch of Lithium stuff, and I can only do that because you guys are not on any digital platform.
Yes.
So there's no worrying about whitelisting and asking the artist to be nice to me and all that sort of shit.
We did have the stuff up, as you know, but it kind of like cost us more to have it up than to actually to warrant keeping it up there. I mean, I know there are some channels that you can put the stuff up and they don't charge and all of that, but it was like kind of all or nothing. We just decided we'll take everything down. It is all up on Bandcamp.
Yes, it is.
If people want to get the stuff, everything's there. So for the diehards who really want it, they can go there. And
that's right.
What they want.
That's right. And chat knows only too well. I did post a link up right at the very top there. Lithium's music that's their YouTube channel, which it doesn't exist. Well, it exists, but nobody's in control of it because nobody can remember the password.
When you got a bit of a hard on for the Lithium reunion and very diligently added a lot of cool material, I must say. That was super cool.
And that was only a quarter of the stuff.
Yeah.
I've got. I used to have so much stuff, but then things went a little bit tits up, really.
Yeah, it's a long sad story, really.
What is it with lithium? What is it? What is it? Because when lithium started back in '93, oh God, we're going to have this conversation again on. Okay, Chad. This
I think our Facebook timeline says 92, but to be
timeline
honest,
doesn't exist anymore. Did you know that?
Really?
Yeah, that whole where you this is when this was released and all these important moments.
Did Meta just kill it?
Yeah.
Wow.
What is it called now? Meta World or something like that, or Face Puss or whatever the fuck.
I engage so little in it as much as possible. Yeah. I don't know. Like, there's a lot of negativity and animosity between people on social media, and I just kind of like lost my mojo for it. You know, I mean, I have a page, and obviously I use it to promote music and my design stuff and whatever when I need to. But yeah, I you know, like very rarely go and spend like a big chunk of time on it. It is a cool tool, and it's nice to check in with people you know every now and then that you don't ordinarily see.
It's like music. If you use it correctly, it can be very productive. But you can also get lost in the shitstorm that is social media.
No, look, I mean, sometimes I'll like go down a 15-minute wormhole of reels on Instagram because it's just like, geez, what's next? And you're just like, what are people actually doing out there?
But you love to fight with people on Facebook, don't you? You like to engage the naysayers.
It's been a long time. Yeah, I turned my heater on because my old knees were getting cold. But I think that's
your old knees, bloody hell.
Yeah, I went for a run this morning.
I was just going to say, you're still running, obviously.
It was 3 degrees, dude.
Why?
I ran with my gloves. By the time I got home, I think I almost like went into shock. It was a little bit cold. I'm a bit over winter now.
It's been a long winter too, but strange. But why do you like get like sort of like angry?
I've always been an angry person. Like I don't know why. Like it's just the kind of the way I'm wired. I'm like, I don't know. I get irritated very easily by stupid things that other people would just shrug off. You know, and from like totally calm to like seriously voice that I smash my cell phone on the table and then go like, oh shit, you know. I've always had that that dark side to me. Like
and it shows in the music too, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, that is a great tool for kind of venting and expressing oneself. Definitely, it's better than, you know.
I think before I left Facebook, the last rant I saw of yours was you were having a go at someone about the deadbeats and the ticket pricing.
Oh no, they were having a go at us.
Oh, they were having a go at you, so you had to go back at them.
Yeah, look, I mean,
it's real mature, Dave.
Well, exactly. I mean, I try not to engage with it anymore. I learned that definitely the hard way when I became vegan and quite vocal about it, and you know,
you got a lot of backlash on that.
But yeah.
Why? Is it because people don't understand it, or just
some
like
people don't understand why?
Or is it internet hate? You know, like everybody's jumping on the hate bandwagon.
For attention, I guess. And the problem is that they're doing it to invoke some kind of response and engage in, you know, they want to be entertained and they want to be, you know, take some of your energy for themselves. And that's the problem is we jump in and like feed it, you know, and until you actually break that cycle, it just perpetuates itself. And then you might as well,
you must get stuck in
any kind of toxic relationship. You know, you have to say, okay, if this thing is not adding anything positive to my life, like why am I investing so much of my time and energy in it? You know,
I think
you end up going away feeling worse. You know, I found that if you just shrug it off, or you ignore a dude, or you just delete his dumb message or whatever and move on with your life, you very quickly get over it. But on the times where I kind of did, I'm going to prove my point, and you jump in, you know, like fists raised, and here we go. Like that shit stays with me for like a year. And that sounds ridiculous, but I'm like thinking about it, and it's there, and I'm still irritated about what the dude said.
Why can't people just be accepting of It's people's choices. Why we got to argue about stupid shit, really?
Yeah, no, but that's, I think, like, I got eventually to a point where I was like, okay, like,
fuck it.
You can't. It's not my job to convince somebody else that it's right or wrong.
Right.
Like, and you can't. Like, maybe one or two people that, you know, read my rants about the meat industry or whatever will go like, yeah, you know, I was kind of on the fence, and this article kind of swayed it for me. I mean, that's how it happened for me. It was a slow build-up of, like, you know, getting to know what really happens and where the food I'm eating really comes from. And I don't know, something just flipped in me where I was like, okay, I can't actually support this anymore. Like,
right.
It just doesn't sit well with me. I can't do it. And it was difficult in the beginning. Like, it's a major
Bye-bye Nando's. You guys should chant Nando's nonstop.
Jeez,
should have been sponsored by Nando's, man. What the hell? Jesus,
yeah, Nando's was a big Lithium. First it was KFC, and then we all got into, like, the hot chili, so we switched to Nando's.
Nice. What's the hottest chili you've ever had?
Carolina Reaper, I think. Ghost chilies. I've had all these things. I mean, habanero is still my favorite chili of all time. It's just something about the flavor of it that's really the best for me. So that's
the flavor. I look at a habanero, my mouth just goes, no, thank you.
It's kind of my daily, you know, sprinkle on whatever I'm trying.
How's your Nort afterwards, dude? Has it gotten used to it?
Yeah. I've had a ring sting for like 20 years, dude.
Ring sting. Jesus, I haven't heard that in years.
Yeah, no,
oh, God.
It took some toughening up to get there.
Oh, God. Right, chat, I did say...
Let's not go down that hole.
Yeah, no, I don't want to go down any hole like that, dude. I did say to chat that this was going to happen, that there was going to be like this crazy... time travel conversation that's going to happen. We're going to
have a list of things that you want to discuss.
No.
I do tend to go off on tangents.
That's absolutely fine.
To the point.
Which is why I've set aside 2.5 hours. Because I know this conversation is going to go on a little bit, which is fine, which is absolutely fine, because the guys are interested in all that sort of stuff. So let's talk about, obviously we're going to talk about lithium. Okay. And then
well, I mean, that's kind of really where it started.
Well, it didn't really.
No, I mean, it was my first original, like, band where I was actively writing songs.
Wait. What's the band with Jay called?
Oh, before? No, I mean, look, Jay, the original Lithium guitarist, and I were at school together. So we started jamming in about 87 or so. I was in standard 7. Grade 9, and we just connected. We clicked. We just very
Texas
quickly,
Flood, wasn't it?
Our very first band was called Grey Fuzz.
Fuzz, bloody hell!
The TV pattern, you know.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
We were just sitting aimlessly staring at the TV pattern because the thing had finished. You know, when TV just stopped, there was no more TV for tonight. Sorry, or whatever. We were like, Grey Fuzz. That'll be a great name for a band. Then it was Texas Flood, because we were like super into Stevie Ray Vaughan and the blues scene. That was one of his albums was called Texas Flood.
Mm-hmm.
We recorded we did 1 or 2 original songs back in those days, but we were mostly just, you know, like practically learning music still.
So how did covers. Lithium actually start them from that then?
It kind of evolved. I mean, we met your brother Paul, and we started a cover band before Lithium.
Oh, yes, that's right.
So, I mean, that was essentially 3/4 of Lithium with a different drummer. We were playing covers around a couple of places.
So basically, you've come full circle.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, like, I love playing covers because you get to play songs that you wouldn't write yourself, or like sing in a key that's super awkward for me, that I wouldn't comfortably naturally in that writing, in my writing style, I wouldn't go there. Yeah. But it's like, oh, here's the song, it's Men at Work, and it's like 3 octaves too high for me, but you know, we go for it. And that helps you grow and kind of push yourself. And also it's cool to see how different songs are kind of pieced together and built. So yeah, I love the cover scene. I mean, I played in restaurants after I left school as well. I paid my way through college. And
I mean, the local Spur restaurant was the local hangout for us, man. That's all we used to go. Like, when was it? Monday night or something?
Tuesdays. So yeah, I guess I turned my back on covers for a time, because once we started writing our own songs and like, oh, this is, you know, there's a little bit more satisfaction out of composing something.
But there's a pedigree there, isn't there? Though, I mean, your dad was and still, I guess to some extent, a drummer.
Yeah. My dad was a jazz drummer, played flute as well. So I definitely got the musical side from him. I mean, he listened to lots of really weird jazz that I never kind of got into, but also like Frank Zappa and Jimi Hendrix and Deep Purple, those kind of bands.
Right.
So I got that from my dad, and my mom was like Julio Iglesias and Nat King Cole.
Okay,
and
so
opera,
the singing
which I also
side,
never
right?
really loved. So I got like two different kind of styles.
So how the hell did you get into grunge rock then? I mean, if it's...
Well, I've got an older brother who's 8 years older than me, Mike. So when I was like in standard 1, 1981, I remember him having a cassette. And on one side was The Police. I think it was probably Zenyatta Mondata, one of those early albums back then. And then on the other side was Judas Priest. So like, so Mike was kind of feeding me some different stuff as well. And then I kind of discovered bands like Pink Floyd, and like really started getting immersed in this, like the different levels of music and like what you can do with it. And, you know, it's not just a song, you can really build this, you know, tell a whole story just with music. And it just fascinated me. But I always liked lots of different styles of music. I never really you know, went down, okay, I'm a metalhead and that's all I listen to. Like, yes, I'm a metalhead, but I still like to listen to Cat Stevens and Rodriguez or whatever. What
was the first, you know, grunge? Because we're going to hit on the grunge thing. Because I think in the early days of Lithium, 93, 94, 95, or maybe even a little bit longer than that, you guys were labeled like massive grunge band. But in actual fact, Lithium was rock.
Having the name Lithium probably didn't help, because, you know, it was just after we kind of got into Nevermind and Nirvana and that whole scene, we definitely, I mean, my vocal style even changed with the grunge scene. I started singing more like Eddie Vedder. If I listen to like early demos of stuff I was messing around with pre that time, I sang kind of normally like I do now. And then I kind of went down like a weird road where you're trying to kind of emulate the style of what you're into at the time. And yeah, that's why I say, like, you know, when I listen back to all of that old stuff, it kind of makes me cringe a bit, because I can hear my insecurities. I can, you know, instead of trying to sing with my own original voice, you kind of you know, taking a bit of everyone you're hearing and plopping out whatever, you
and try and make it your own kind of thing.
So like after the Lithium days, and knowing all of this, I made a conscious decision to, okay, I'm going to stop doing those Americanisms. I'm going to retrain myself to kind of you know, find my own voice, and it took a while to get there.
I was just going to say, that's a lot of years to undo.
Yeah, definitely. But it was definitely worth it in the end, because I feel like a more authentic voice and kind of my own sound.
Right. So let's touch on that the very first recording you did with Lithium. Okay, that was the demo tape. I'm glad to say I was there for most of it, but I can't remember a lot of it. But
yeah. No, I mean, that was recorded in bits and pieces over quite a time, probably 6 months or so. And we also, during that time, went through Jay resigning and Ian Watson coming along and filling his shoes. So Jay's on the demo. 1 or 2 of his songs that he had written made it onto the Broken album, but essentially Ian was really our first guitarist in terms of from when we started releasing,
right,
official albums and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, we recorded that demo with Paris at his house in Fishhook long before he invested all of Lithium's money into his studio.
We'll sort of semi-touch on that. I think a little bit. Was Jay on Pathetic You?
Yeah.
Was that Ian?
I think that was Jay. Listen to the whiny little, with his little 10-watt Samick amp, whatever that thing was called.
Well, we're playing it now in the background. So Chad, you can.
Song.
I was so disappointed that song didn't make it on the album because it is a very different song. It's not your typical hard rock or anything like that. It's kind of weird.
That's always a difficult decision when you have to okay, we're doing 12 songs, but it's like, we've got 15 or 16 that are that are strong, but you have to, record companies saying, no, this is the...
But no, hang on now, because when you recorded Broken, I was told from Paul that it was meant to be just an EP, and then, what's his name, I can't remember, the guy from EMI came in and said, no, we've made it now, decided it's going to be a full album.
Sure, I can't even remember that now. Maybe.
Interesting.
Because, we had the demos, then we demoed, we did the 10 Quickies demo where we had a couple of new songs.
Right.
And
I don't want no tennis balls.
Please, God. That's probably up on Bandcamp.
Trust the other schizo, isn't it? Or something like that.
Yeah,
no, that's not on Bandcamp.
In the studios. Yeah, those weren't real songs.
Dude, I was actually seriously thinking about emailing you and saying we got to put up all the B-sides and rarities or whatever.
Didn't we do that? We'll look into it.
Everything you want, everything you wanted, and anything you never, anything you wanted, everything you never wanted. Yeah. I think
I've got that on a drive somewhere. I'm sure. I don't think a lot of people really want to hear that.
You'd be surprised, dude. You'd be surprised, man. Frightening.
I think you've got to be. It's like I went through those days of getting bootlegs and weird, rare demos of bands that I loved, and eventually I was like, and actually, it sounds quite fun. And I don't really want to listen.
You know what?
To hear, how, especially if there's like a dodgy demo, and then wow, this is how it ended up on the album.
Exactly.
That's interesting to me.
I think that's nice
when
to see
there's no
that
reference and it's just a dodgy old demo that you never did anything with.
Yeah.
Wooden box. We had a Lithium out of
wooden box. Yeah.
Wooden box that haunted us for about 10 years.
It's not an overly bad song.
No, a beautiful intro, like amazing riff, and then
it kind of went nowhere.
It went nowhere.
It's kind of flat.
It's just one of those, some songs you jam something and you knock it out, and wow, in 2 hours you've got a whole song, and other ones like haunt you for 20 years and you never finish.
What was the easiest song that you've written?
Oh my gosh, HIV came together really quickly. I remember writing that in my bedroom at home, just jamming the riff, and then obviously had the idea of what I wanted to sing about, and then just smashed it out.
The hardest song
that came together really quickly. Sure, probably Obituary, all the fiddly bits. Although I think I had that little intro riff even before Lithium. We used to play that. Jay and I had a band called Messenger. What was Paul in Messenger? No, I think it was. I don't know.
I don't know.
We recorded 2 demos, and one of them actually had that Obituary intro. So that thing had been like lying around for a long time, and then kind of finally found its home in Obituary with Lithium. That's the thing about music, is it can start off as something and it can totally end up as something else. So, I've got little bits and pieces and riffs that I've been carrying around for decades, and suddenly.
But that's a very normal, typical thing of a singer-songwriter. A singer-songwriter that's going to have all these little riffs. I mean, big artists do it. Metallica do it. It's like press on the 4-track and go, nah, there's a riff, and okay, cool. Let's incorporate that into an album.
I really should have a long time ago got like set up to track and record stuff at home. I still don't, have a sound card plugged in and ready to go. And I think I probably lost a lot of really cool ideas and interesting things because of that. Because it's like, I will never forget this. This is the best riff in the world. And then you scribble it down on a piece of paper, and the paper's gone, and it's like,
it's got beer stains on it or whatever.
It's gone,
yeah,
dude,
it's gone.
So
touching on that, hey Blitz over in the chat, how you doing? Kraza, Nawaya, hey guys, how you all doing, man? Good of you to be on. Speaking to Dave Beretta Owens, a very good friend of mine. There we go. Dave, so vegan, non-drinker, although that's slightly changed recently. Did you have a shooter at the last Deadbeats gig? You sniffed a shot glass or something. Was it a water shooter?
That's why I sniffed it, to make sure it wasn't. So water shots is actually, it was a thing that a friend of ours, Colette, up in Joburg started when Stacey and I stopped drinking. Because we'd be out and watching bands or whatever, and it's like everyone's getting around, and it's it's like a camaraderie thing. Like we have a shot and cheers to cheers, and then non-drinkers are sitting on the side. So Colette would she started bringing us water shots so we could cheers and get in on the action. Yeah.
Get in the vibe, yeah. Now,
as far as alcohol goes, like I don't miss it, dude. Like I stopped. This year will be 7 years in November.
Wow.
And I never said never again. I was just like tired of feeling sick after a few beers, and I tortured my poor liver and body like right through the 90s and on beyond. I was always a heavy drinker, and it would always you end bad, like mostly for me, not for anyone. I never got into fights, and I never like drove around smashing my car into things, and it was excessive, and it could bring out that little dark edge that I was talking about, that ugly side. It's just I found it made me a bit unpredictable,
Yeah.
Always like go a bit too far. It could be the life of the party or the death of it, like
right.
Oh God, Dave's on one of these benders. Or
yeah.
Usually I would just drink until I passed out in the corner and puked somewhere, and carry on.
Damn it, dude.
So yeah, I just got to the point where I was like, again, like it's like a toxic relationship, right? Whether it's a person or it's a substance.
Right.
When it's only taking things away from you and giving you nothing back, then like what's the point?
What's the point? Yeah.
Yeah, and I wasn't enjoying it. It was just like a habit. So I was like, no. And lucky for me, I was able to just say, okay, I'm done. I'm taking a break. And then it's been 6.5 years,
That lifestyle goes hand in hand with the music scene that we were in.
Oh, definitely. I mean, we were sponsored by Quavo at one point, and you got a bottle of tequila to start the show, Oaks are bringing you shots of Jack while you're smashing. And I mean, we had a good time, and often led to some really, really cool stuff. But it also often led to like, oh God, like Lithium are so drunk they can barely play, And I feel like I need to apologize to people, because I mean, I know what it's like when you've paid money and you like gonna go see a band you really love, and the Oaks, leaning up against the wall and can't actually play. It's like, have a jaw after the show,
Right. Right.
Respect yourself and your fans enough to play the absolute best kick-ass show you can, and then go get motherless with them in the bar afterwards, if that's what you want, where you want to go. But so I didn't know that in those days. I hadn't.
Well, none of us did.
But until you have that realization for yourself, it's like it's not going to sink in.
Yeah, exactly. The demo tape that was we go with the dates again. I say 93. You say 94.
I finished matric 1990. 91.
Summer job on the beach.
I was supposed to go to the army. I didn't go to the army because I had a busted leg, and then started studying. Second year, I studied at Cape Tech. 92, I started at Art Directors Workshop. like studied some graphic design, started getting into it there. And I think it was my second year at art directors that Lithium started. So it's 93, pretty sure.
93.
93.
Okay. And then the
Yeah,
demo.
Paul and I were jamming with the cover band or whatever from 92, but
Right.
the actual Lithium stuff kind of really only started happening in 93, as far as I remember.
It's,
and then I think we had been together probably 6 months or so at least before we met Paris. And I can't even remember how that whole thing happened. Friend of a friend or whatever. And he came around, had a listen to what we were doing, and really he heard something in there that that he wanted to get involved with. So he had a very rudimentary recording setup at home, DAT tapes and God knows what, and the mic, like the vocal booth was literally the toilet of his downstairs room. Like, that kind of stuff. Simon's kit was set up in the passage between the kitchen and it was just, but we just went for it, and we were loving it. We were like, shit, this is amazing. We can record ourselves. We can hear it.
Yeah.
Like, there was no home recording or plug in your guitar and your computer and whack something down in those days.
No, there wasn't. Yeah.
So yeah, we just kind of smashed out everything we had, good or bad. We didn't have a lot of songs.
Is there anything that wasn't put on the demo that you thought should have been?
Not that I remember. I don't know. I think at that stage, those were all of the kind of first songs that we had written, and the early material that we had made it onto that demo. And yeah, I mean, Jay had recorded a few of the songs when Ian took over. We didn't feel like we needed to redo Jay's tracks. We thought it would be cool just to leave them as they were. I mean, it was a demo anyway.
Yeah.
So Ian did half of the tracks, the newer stuff.
Look at Ian. I remember being in the studio, and watching Ian recording. One of the leads. I can't remember what song it was. Such a long time ago, and I was controlling a reverb or something like that. Paris was controlling something else while he was playing, and we were just I think it may have been Pathetic You. I'm not sure. Yeah. It might have been, I don't know. I can't remember, but it was such a weird moment, and seeing how green he was compared to like a year later, how different he was. Because not even a year later, it was probably 6 months later.
We were also green. We thought we knew what we were doing, which we had no idea.
But the demo was recorded. Was it recorded after the Fisher concert or before?
Sure, now that I'm not sure. We could.
I can't remember because I know that after the Fisher concert, Jay left the band, and he had already made up his mind by the time that the Fisher concert had happened.
Yeah, that was kind of, we knew he was wanting to go by that point.
When did God Thang come into effect? Because I know it's not a dig at Jay; it's more like an understanding.
No, totally a dig at Jay.
Oh, is it?
Definitely a dig at Jay. And kind of organized religion.
Chat, I know nothing about the band.
No. We even had a chat about that afterwards. I mean, I was super hurt when he wanted to leave. I understood, and it was because we were so close, and we had kind of discovered music and being in bands to some degree together. Like my first band ever was with my dad and my brother at school. My dad was a teacher at our school, as well as being a muso. So we did a couple of songs at a variety show of sorts at the school. In the hall, 800 people. That was my first gig, packed 800. We did Hey Jude. What's it called? Locomotive Breath by Jethro Tull, because my dad also plays a flute. And my brother was on keyboards, and we didn't have a bass player. He did like door style,
Right.
split the keyboard, bass, and keys. And I think we did Knocking on Heaven's Door or something like that. And I was just like instantly hooked. And I think that was the same year that Jay and I kind of clicked, because he obviously saw me playing with my dad or whatever, and then approached me and said, "Oh, I also play," and that's kind of how we connected. But yeah, like then we started writing music. That was an amazing thing, because like playing so many covers. I mean, we would go to Jay's house, Beatles books, Pink Floyd books, or like just like learning, as many of these cool songs.
I remember
as we
going
possibly
down
could.
to one of the music out, whatever the hell it was called. It was a music store, and I was with you. It's probably the whole band, actually, come to think of it, but it was somewhere. It doesn't matter the location. The chat's not going to really know, but it was. They had one section for drums, and they had another section with guitars and then keyboards and stuff like that. And you and Jay went straight to the obviously the guitar room area. And the first thing that you did was go down at the books, look at the books, and then pick up a 12-string guitar and started playing Pink Floyd.
Cool.
And we all just stopped. We were like, "Yep, there goes Dave. He's at it again." And it sounded fucking...
Probably wish you were here on a 12-string. Oh,
Yeah.
That's nothing quite like that.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Yeah, that's exactly it. So that's interesting that you talk about like all the books and learning music from the books, and that kind of like clicks now. You're going down into the room.
I think it's important. Some people don't like to be influenced by other musicians, and like don't.
But how could you not be though?
Yeah, like I don't know. Like I've always enjoyed playing other music and learning how to play a cool riff, or like it's like my brain is not wired to think like that or to write something like that, but you can still play it and still enjoy it,
I mean, going through all those books and learning all those songs must have clearly influenced you in writing your own stuff. Must have, surely.
Definitely. I mean, I think everything you listen to and everything you play along with kind of seeps into what you create and what you turn out there. It's an interesting process. Sometimes I'm like, shit, I'm never going to write another riff again. They've all been done. Everything's been done. And then yet at some point you pick up the guitar and start fiddling, and it's like, oh, this sounds new. This is different.
Right.
I should challenge myself to be more proactive in terms of writing. I go through spurts where like I'll write 4 or 5 songs in a couple of months, and then not produce anything new for like years. Like, shit, I haven't written anything.
I mean, that's an interesting one though, because you did what is that first solo album you did with the two halves?
Order of Things.
Order of Things. Great album. Really, really nice. And then you just released one fairly recent. Was it last year or this year?
Some singles. I've done a couple of singles recently.
Okay.
I mean, Order of Things was a cool album. The songs are cool. I was going through a lot at the time, and I can honestly feel that my soul is not in that record.
Really?
It's hard to explain.
Because listening to it felt like it.
Yeah, it feels a bit dead. Like, and I can't explain why. Like,
maybe emotionally.
We record. Yeah. I was about to go through a very hectic divorce. Things were building up, and I can feel the lack of my own energy in it. I mean, recorded with Theo, cool studio, brilliant producer. The tracks sound great. The song, like, I don't know, I just can't put my finger on exactly. Maybe it's an attachment I have to what I was going through at that time. That might be a little bit of that also, because a lot of people are like, no, man, it's great.
Yeah, but they weren't going through it.
I can just hear that it wasn't quite there. If I listen to the native stuff I recorded, or later on the PitVirus, I can hear like I'm in there and like I'm giving it everything. Whereas that album, sadly, just didn't hit the mark,
Jeepers, I tell you, I listened to that album and I'm like, It's just like a roller coaster, emotional roller coaster for me, because I mean, I at the time of listening, I didn't know what you were going through during that recording process.
Yeah.
So I didn't get like an insight into what was happening, and then you told me afterwards what was going on, and I was like, okay, interesting. But it's still, for me, it hits the mark. It's like it's almost like emotionally crying out for fucking help.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It sounds like to me, and some of the songs there are really beautiful and really, really nice. But
I'm always crying out for help.
aren't we all?
I need
Aren't we all?
assistance at all times.
Greetings to Stephanie. Stephanie, I hope you have traveled well. The RPM Games. Hey, Creepy Ron, how you doing, man? And I said, hey to Blitz, you fucker, you. Creepy Ron, yeah, there's a dude called Creepy Ron. RPM Games. Oh, my wussy nation. Okay, so then the demo gets recorded. Let's actually just play a little bit of an intro to one of the songs. What do we got? Let's see, we got Killing Cause It Pleases and Pathetic You. Go on, your choice.
In some ways, I actually prefer the HIV version on the demo than the one on Broken was a bit slow. I think something went wrong there. It's so funny.
I like the demo version. There's a lot. Actually, you know what I like about the demo? It is raw and rough. It just as not rough, but raw. The way Lithium. Yeah, I mean the way that I think Lithium is not sounds really stupid and conceited to say, but Lithium to me isn't a studio band.
No, we failed a little bit. The Takeout EP was about the closest thing for me to what we sounded like, when we were live. I mean, Whole we actually did record live. It was one take live,
right?
Yeah, I always struggled. I was super insecure. I would like manifest illness building up to, a recording session. I'd get so obsessed about it and worrying about it, and also like,
that's
amazing. Comes down to my insecurities at the time. Like, I didn't think I was particularly good. I knew.
Are you talking about the Takeout EP during those times? That's
no. I mean, even the Broken days. I mean, I was so sick when we recorded Broken, which is my biggest problem with it. Even though I wasn't the world's greatest vocalist at that point, I was certainly more capable of better vocals than what ended up being on the album. Also, I should have said, shit, I'm sick, guys. Like, let's finish the album and I'll come back to do the vocals in a couple of weeks when I'm feeling better.
Yeah.
Now we'll fix it in post. We'll throw some distortion on whatever. It didn't quite get there.
What are the chances of ever redoing the album?
Well,
with art, it's got to be with art, things. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I chatted to Pete Pilson years ago about that very thing. About like, if I could only just go back 20 years and redo those vocals, I'd be a happy man. I mean, he was like, "Oh, well, I've still got the separates, so, like, why don't we could?"
Oh, does he? Wow.
We could do it. Not for all of the tracks. He's got, which is why I kind of paused on it, because he had like 7 or 8 of the tracks. But yeah, I mean, I would love to revisit some of those songs now and see what I could do.
Wouldn't it be great to
Other people have said, just like, let it lie, like as it was, it is what it is.
I mean, it's a moment in time.
Yeah.
And it's the history of the band.
Should you go back and fix your mistakes? Like, I don't know.
It's a tricky one. I mean, if you had an opportunity, you just said you would.
Yeah. I know I would do a better job.
Yeah, but it may not sound right, though.
Yeah, it would be a different version. I don't think going back and trying to fix Broken from 95 is the right approach. But I mean, I would love to reimagine some of those songs now and see what I would do them.
Talking
like
of which,
we played those songs in the reunion shows and whatever, they sounded a bit more meaty and like,
yes,
vocally I'm more present and more confident.
But that boils down to maturity as well as of the band. Having gone through a lot of shit and, pulled your fingers out. Drunken Dragon Gaming, how are you doing, man? Good to see you.
Yeah, I mean, we tried when I moved back to Cape Town. It was 5 years ago now, believe it or not. 2017. I tried to get the ball rolling again, and it kind of, we played a few shows. It looked like things were going to get moving, and then it kind of just fizzled out. There wasn't really much going on. Everyone was super busy. Obviously there was a bit of a vibe happening there with some of the members. And Ian already had, bowed out. He didn't want to be in. And I thought, okay, well, Ian replaced Jay, so Ian can be replaced, like was my kind of logic in that. Like, he wasn't the first guitarist, so we can replace it.
Yeah.
Get a new guitarist. And we started jamming with Kevin Rule, which was super fun. And, we had a couple of really rad shows. And just at the time when we were starting to think about, okay, well, I've got a bunch of songs. Why don't we look at recording some new Lithium stuff? Then Simon bailed. He wasn't interested in carrying on with it. And then I was like, okay, now it's just Paul and I from the original lineup. When is a band not a band anymore? When are you a cover band of your own band? I remember seeing Squeal, who I absolutely always loved and still do to this day. I saw them at Opikopi one year, where it was only Dave Birch from the original band and a bunch of session guys. And it was still kef to see the band and hear the songs, but it didn't feel authentic to some degree. No disrespect to, what they were trying to do. And I just, I got to a point where I was like, I don't know if I want to keep doing it with a bunch of new guys. And kind of just decided to rather.
Who owns the rights to Broken?
I mean, we signed with EMI. We did that album with EMI, but it was a 7-year contract. So after 7 years, that relapsed to us as the authors and writers of
what songs, right? What songs?
Yes, correct. Ian's dad, Mally Watson, we did the publishing and whatnot through him. So I mean, I could theoretically do whatever I want with those songs.
I think what would to me what would make sense, and I know it's like another bit of history, is the Sensory Deprivation lo-fi goddamn recording. That is an album that should be a Lithium album with the 2 new members and you and Paul. That should be an album.
No, you see, I disagree, because Sensory Deprivation only exists because of those 4 people in that room on that night. It was like okay, there were bits and pieces of demos that we had recorded over some time, but the actual Sensory Dep track with a half-hour spontaneous jam track. I mean, that thing became its own living beast.
Monster.
It's incredible. And I mean, that we tried to replicate that live once or twice and like do a live Sensory Dep, and it never really reached that kind of level, No, I don't know. I mean, we jammed Swarm with Kev, and we were looking at, including that in whatever new material we're doing. Big White Beast, we never got down properly.
Aesop.
There were some really, really interesting things happening towards the end of the Lithium lifespan. For unfinished business, sure, to some degree. I still play Swarm. It's like I love that riff so much.
Okay, so
jamming my guitar, like.
Okay, this is for chat. Okay, we're going to keep quiet for a couple of seconds. Chat, this is Swarm by Lithium from the radio sessions in 1998. It is the live version, the only decent version that is out there.
Seconds left, goodbye, I guess I'll see you around.
Yes, chat, that is a live recording. It is available on Bandcamp, and there is the link up in chat right now. You know what to do. Get out there and support the band and buy the stuff. It's not available on any other platform other than Bandcamp. There you go. Greetings to Denendo, even chat. How are you doing, man? I'm glad you're enjoying the podcast. Denende, you fucking beautiful person, you. Alrighty. Okay, so...
Why is my face so big on the screen? I just accidentally saw myself.
I can see the reflection. I can see your reflection in the glasses. I'm big on your screen. That's a no-go, man.
That's all blurry.
Yeah, you're just taking the glasses off. There you go. Okay, yeah. So the demo gets recorded. There's a spate of live concerts that are sold out, and people go fucking ballistic, and Lithium gets massive.
Paris's genius was to do the Claremont, first of all, the Fisher High School concerts.
Yep.
He just, realized there was an untapped market of young people into rock music that couldn't get out to pubs and clubs to see bands. So he was like, let's try take the bands to the schools. So we did a couple of assembly kind of things, just the Pinelands High and Birchfleet High and Fisher, and somehow convinced Fisher High to let us have a concert in their hall. And that really
what madness! I mean, who would ever agree to that?
We eventually chased most of, at least half the hall out, because we were just playing every song we possibly knew, and almost we were having so much fun we didn't want to stop. Essentially,
and I remember that I was side stage. I don't know what the hell my job was. I got no fucking idea. I know I had to blow up some pyro. That was stage manager. I just stood there and headbang. That's all I did. Headbang. Is that a word? Headbanged? I don't know. Oh, God. RPM reckons that your next album should be called Why Am I So Big? Because you said your head is so big.
My face
it's so big. Why's my face so big? Greetings, Charlene. How are you doing? I'm glad you're enjoying the podcast, everybody. David Beretta Owens of Lithium, PitVirus native, and lately, The Deadbeats. The Deadbeats is an 80s alternative cover band, and they are playing the 10th of September in our part of the world. So if you travel over to South Africa now, you might catch them.
We are playing some shows overseas. I want the big Dubai contracts, please. Come on, guys.
The big Dubai contracts. Yeah.
Go set up there for a couple of months.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so after the concerts, the band gets bigger. Then comes, because there was no website, there was no emails, newsletter time. And for some unknown godly reason, you guys made me the newsletter editor. So I used to sit and interview you guys pre-gig and ask questions, because people wanted to know what was going on in the band and all that sort of stuff. I'm not trying to toot on
really cool
marketing from Paris.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, people used to literally write letters to us, which would each and every one right back to
and Paul's got them all. And they are hilarious to read back on.
There's some dodgy ones.
Oh boy. You look at some of those and you go, geez, are these people still alive? But interesting.
It was such a cool way. I mean, we put a lot of the little money we were making in those days back into the fan club, and made badges and posters and full color posters and
t-shirts.
The t-shirts we didn't send out, but the other stuff we would send for free. It was costing us money.
Yeah. But it paid off.
It definitely helped to build a bit of a thing.
Right.
Without social media and we only got our first email and website in 98 or 99, right towards the end of our thing. So you had to, if there was a gig, you had to go out and put posters up and go plaster stuff all over walls, or hand you know,
Real
1,000
old
flyers
school
out on a
stuff.
Saturday night. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember walking around Cape Town city center, handing out flyers and putting stuff on walls and
Yeah, I think like
jeez.
we've become a bit complacent now, like because we can make a Facebook event and hope people come, you know, like
Has it
yeah.
degraded over the years, attendance?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not out there as an original artist really, like playing those kind of shows. So I don't really have an
Maybe
honest.
that's not the right question to ask. Do you think it's for new bands now? Is it easier or harder?
Well, I mean, there's more accessibility to people and an audience,
Right.
but that audience is also getting bombarded by every single band out there that wants your attention.
Right.
So yes and no. There's more opportunity, more accessibility, but less opportunity in a way. Yeah, like I don't know. It's a constant battle, I guess, of trying to be heard and trying to be discovered
How
and
did we?
trying to get people. I mean, we relied on the gig guides on radio and you know
Right.
the little gig guide on a Saturday on a Friday afternoon newspaper. You know, Lithium's playing at the whatever Brass Bell tomorrow, and
£5 cover
you know,
charge.
you hope like 5 people would see it in the newspaper, and
To our
20
American
people
friends, that was
handed
probably
flyers.
50 cents to you.
Yeah, no, look, the music industry in the 90s was a bit of a mess. You know, it was still trying to find itself. Definitely picked up and got moving with the South African music explosion, as they dubbed it,
SA
later on
Music
in the
Explosion,
90s.
How
But
how
it
did
was still,
EMI then come into play then? Because because first it was the demo, then it was all the concerts, and it was
yeah, we had just done our first Claremont concert,
right.
and Paris had started. We had the demo, and a little bit of a weapon in our hands because of the success of the concerts, and we, you know, things were starting to happen, that we had created by ourselves. So he sent the stuff off to a couple of record companies, and EMI were interested. You know, they came back and said, cool, let's talk, let's do something.
Did you guys shit yourselves when that happened?
No, of course. I mean, you know, in those days, you couldn't really do what independent artists and people are doing now. You can record and fund your own thing and release it yourself or through a small distribution company. Those kind of things didn't exist in the 90s, you know, like the early 90s. You were literally, you know, if you didn't know the music manager at 5FM, you weren't going to get your stuff played on the radio. You know, there weren't... we didn't have all of these cool independent stations, you know, to promote your music and play. You were kind of totally reliant on the existing infrastructure.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, of course we were like totally stoked. Wow, we got a record deal, like not even knowing what that kind of really meant.
So let me put it this way to you then. Do you think if Lithium had started at the end of the 90s, would Lithium still be going?
It's hard to say. Like, yeah,
we live in dream, man. Come on.
We live in dream. No, look, I mean, there's always, it doesn't matter how good you are or how good you think you are. There's always an element of luck, like the right time with the right person. You know, we didn't have the right people looking after us at EMI eventually. You know, the guys that signed us moved on. You know, we got handed over to people who weren't really into the band. They had new signings they were kind of more focused on.
Right.
Whereas like the nudies at Sony had someone that was so passionate about the band and going, pushing. You know, and then like, you know, they kind of just kept going, and we were slowing down. We were kind of like, there was nothing left to do or nowhere to go. We weren't getting booked for the Rand Easter show, like, you know, all of these things that were kind of like, you know, few years before were like, you know, we were always considered like as the headliner or up front. And then eventually we got to a point where it was just like, the pool is too small. Like there's nothing left for us to do here. You know, like we discussed maybe relocating, going overseas. Then that was kind of what eventually led to us splitting. Because Simon and I were like, no, we've got to go overseas. Like there's nothing left to do here. And of course, you know, Paul had just become a dad, or was just, you know, about to become a dad, and was not interested in going overseas. And they had the Black Milk project going. And so, like, you know, it just kind of got to a point where it was like, just sort of fizzled out.
Yeah, it's a shame because
any big one thing that led to that. You know, we almost broke up, and then we stuck it out for another year, and you know, and I'm glad we did, because we, you know, ended up writing a bunch of really cool stuff, but yeah, you can only flog a dead horse for so long.
Well, this is true, yeah. So EMI said, okay, let's do an EP or an album. Funny enough, when you came back to Cape Town in 2017 and started the ball rolling again, Simon messaged me, the previous drummer, and sent me a picture of his Lithium shirt, and I was like, okay, cool, seen it, yeah. And he goes, it's happening. And I was like, fuck off, it's not happening. Nobody's told me. No, Dave's back, it's all going on. Paul doesn't tell me shit anyway. So I was like, okay, cool. And I went around to Simon's to start collecting all the old VHS tapes and sound recordings and everything that I could possibly get my hands on, even the old contract with EMI. We were paging. Yeah, we were paging. Simon and I were paging through that and laughing at all the terms and conditions. Like, Jesus,
it's all ridiculous. Like, yeah, nobody understands what's even said in those things.
And he said, "Look, let's put a couple of tapes in and let's see what what the quality is like, and like that." And I think it was the first tape was the Xenon Super Troopers launch at the River Club, which was hilarious. That's the one I fell over in. That was quite funny. I was in the front, trying to be an idiot. Not trying to. I was an idiot. And the next tape he put in was the signing at EMI. And I was like, I was asking, Jesus, Simon? I said, so you're recording? He goes, no. I said, well, who the fuck is recording it then? He looks at me, he goes, you. I said, what? I wasn't
even remember.
I don't even remember, dude. And next minute, he just checks Simon, take the camera from me and turn around, and then he gets me to speak, and I'm like, no, fuck. So yeah, I was there.
You were like the fifth member of the band back in those days, dude. From like, repeat dialing Barney Simon's show for the demo competition.
Barney Simon, if you ever watch this, I really do apologize, man. And to my mom and my dad up in heaven.
Hey, we did what we had to do.
Thank you. Yeah, that phone bill that month wasn't overly appreciative from the folks. Chad, back in the day, we had to actually phone in to say Battle of the Bands. We want this artist to win and that artist to win. And I phoned in, must have been at least 300-400 times every time that Lithium was on. It's just absolutely ridiculous. But I mean, that EMI sign-in, you must have thought, okay, this is it. Now we can really, really let the artistry sort of like flow. Or was there some members complacent a little bit and go like, no, we can just sit back?
We didn't have any experience in being in a proper recording studio after like the toilets discussion that those recording conditions that we came from. It was a little bit overwhelming to some degree to suddenly be in like a super big pro studio, big time producer and all of that. We definitely, we weren't pushed around or told what we should sound like or shouldn't sound like or do. They cleaned us up a little bit in terms of, tightening up that kind of raw edge that we tended to have that you were talking about earlier. Some of the tracks I listened to and I'm like, you're like really that was missing its original, like, raw kind of vibe. But yeah, no, we were all super happy with the album when it came out, bar the dodgy vocals that I keep going back to. But we were still super
they're
happy.
Not dodgy. I laugh. They're not dodgy. I mean, to you, they
Pretty
will
dodgy,
be.
dude. They're pretty dodgy. I mean, I was so sick that I couldn't hit the notes in Broken. So we ended up slowing the track down so that the key was lower so I could sing it. So, and then speeding it back up again.
Right.
So when I listen to Broken, I can hear it. It sounds like my voice is like, it's like, I don't sound like that, bro.
Alvin!
It's just little things like that, like I go back and I'm like, I wish I could have. But then they spent a lot of money, getting downtown studio for 2 weeks and Peter Pilson and all of that. And it dropped like a ridiculous amount of money on doing the Schizoid video. And as cool as it was, like, it wasn't a big, I mean, it doesn't even really have a chorus, what I mean? It's like, it wasn't a big radio song. So then they quickly scrambled and, let's try and release Be Strange, which was more of the ballady one.
Chilled out. Yeah.
And it was just kind of hit and miss. There wasn't like really a proper plan.
Right.
And, like, I can honestly say that, I wasn't really doing much to steer or contribute. We were just like, we're banned, we're the rock stars, let people handle the admin side. Which has, like, I can't point a finger now at anyone and say, we failed because of this or that. Like, I know that I did very little to try and, okay, cool, I'm the singer, I'll write some of the songs and, design the logo or whatever. But, like, a lot of time I just spent sitting around on my ass waiting to become famous and waiting for it all to happen. And I think unless you kind of really putting everything you can into it, your chances of having that moment of luck, because you create your own luck, you out fishing and meeting and doing what you can, you're creating opportunities for yourself. You're just sitting on your ass at home going, why am I not famous yet? Like, well, that's because you're sitting at home on your ass waiting for it to happen.
Chat, we are, as you can hear in the background, listening now to Schizoid. Here we go. Let me turn this up a bit for you. There we go. Lithium. Oh, yeah. Nice. Schizoid. I remember watching back because I wasn't there for the recording. It was such a lost moment for me because I was so hoping that I could be there in the studio and not like to get my word in, but just to be there to experience it and to see it all happening.
There.
But
and you were there for everything else right from the beginning. But I guess that was also, we were out of our comfort zone, out of our home city. We went up to Joburg, and we had never really been to Joburg.
Would you have preferred to have recorded that album in Cape Town? Would it have made a difference?
It might have made a difference in that it would have been easier for me to go back and do the vocals when I was feeling more up to it. It just, in retrospect now, to spend all that time and all of that money and effort for a half-assed job because I was only at like half capacity. No, I mean, like the recording is good. It sounds cool. Everything sounds rad, but the vocals are just not quite on the same level.
Which is why I said that Lithium to me is always a live band first.
Yeah, I mean, if you listen to the Live at Claremont album, which wasn't that long after the release of the
very different
of Broken, you can hear like the vocals are totally different.
Not just the vocals, it's like the energy. It's almost like it's like the recording's too sterile. You know what I mean? It's like it's too clean. Yeah. Lithium is a rough live sounding band, raw
we
energy.
Did clean it up a little bit too much. and I guess that also came down to, Flip, we've just signed with a record company. They're spending all of this money. We kind of going to do what they say. Pete would steer us down. So, like, he would like try this, or like, I don't know, like the intro for God thing was super weird. It was a cool idea, but in the end, like, I like the demo, like,
and I tend
intro.
to agree with you. Yeah.
Those kind of things where we kind of lost our authenticity a little bit.
Yeah.
And it was really our own fault, because we should have, now I would say, like, don't be ridiculous, we're going to do it this way.
Right.
But we didn't have that confidence at that stage to insist on doing things the way we wanted to.
There was
some really super cool things and some tweaks and things that were introduced that improved the song.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was balanced with things where we were just not quite, didn't live up to its, like, More Than Life for me, like, wasn't as epic as it should have been. Like, the big parts were not big enough. They're like,
I know what you mean, because that should have been the biggest song of the album, I think.
Yeah, they were just, I don't know, like, I would definitely, if I went back and redid it now, I would do it differently. And it would be so super interesting, even if we got Pete now to record those songs, we would come up with a totally different approach and a different
Wouldn't
thing.
it be fun to try?
Yes. Maybe I'll do a David Beretta Owens Lithium album.
How about
David Beretta Owens does Lithium, rather than, instead of calling it a Lithium album.
Chad, this is what I do. This is what I excel at, Chad. I love planting little seeds and seeing if they grow. I've always done it with Lithium, and it always, sometimes works, not always, but
it's always been in the back of my mind that I could do something with that material at some point, and maybe we will.
I think it'd be interesting to get you, Paul, and Art and Kevin to do at least one song of the Broken, or an Aesop or Swarm or Big White Beast.
I'd love to do some Lithium stuff with Art.
Just one song from those previous recordings, and just see what it sounds like as an experimentation. Surely that could be possible. I mean, Gavin's got a desk, and I mean, he did it for the Deadbeats, some video stuff, and which was bloody awesome.
We could.
I'm just saying. Is that little seed is planted now? There we go. There it is.
No. Look, I'm not saying no.
There you go. Not saying no. That's probably the best thing I've heard so far. Not saying no. Okay, so Iron Maiden. Now, you wouldn't have thought that a pairing like Iron Maiden and Lithium would make sense, but Obituary is Iron Maiden-ish.
Look, I mean, the only reason, to be honest, that we ended up supporting Iron Maiden is they were on the EMI label,
right?
And we were the kind
newly
of
signed
local rock grunge kind of band,
right?
So there might have been Sacrificed, or like any other metal band from Cape Town, like in those days, probably would have been more suited, to be honest. But I mean, I'm not complaining.
No, because I mean, that must have been a hell of an experience. And MTV were there as well. In the heydays of MTV.
That was next level on so many things. That was our only kind of tour we did with an international band.
And you held your own too. And there is footage available, chat, on the YouTube channel, linked at the very top of the discussion.
So. We bought it. We gave it everything we could, and
you got a good reception too from all the audiences from all the locations.
No, there were a couple of really good years for Lithium. There was also the Band Slam tour, the international, the national tour rather, with Nudies, Squeal, Sugar Drive, and Nine.
Yep.
That was massive. Like, we were kind of we were moving in big steps at that stage. I think one of our biggest mistakes was after um, after the Band Slam tour. Paris kind of got it because now had seen us on big stages. We had all of this kind of momentum going. He was reluctant, to do another little tour of all the little pubs and clubs around South Africa. He was like, no, you guys have reached a new level now. We're only going to do big concerts.
Ouch.
We're only going to play the big stages,
No.
which is great in theory.
Yeah.
But, at the time, that didn't really equate to a lot of stuff to do. So what happened was we had this huge rise on the verge of kind of breaking out, and then we did nothing with it. We kind of like, okay, we're waiting for the next big thing, and it's just like we're waiting for the next big thing, and not to keep using the nudies as a comparison, but I find because we were at one point on par with the nudies. And they did the exact opposite. They were like, fuck this, we're going to smash every little pub from here to, whatever. And they went on a massive national tour.
Yeah.
Went to because now there's all the buzz about these bands, and they made themselves super accessible to everyone. And we were like, no,
we'll wait. Yeah, we'll wait.
And we did nothing for too long.
Yeah.
And we kind of lost our momentum.
Ouch.
And then it was always just, it is ouch. Because like, if I think about it now, it seems so obvious.
Yeah. Just keep plugging away. Just keep doing.
But then again, I was guilty of just letting other people make those decisions.
Right.
Instead, I didn't really have an opinion about anything in those days. I was too lost-corp and too drunk, whatever, to really kind of, think about things and think what do I want to do? What do I think is the best? Or we'll just let everyone else handle it.
Make those decisions.
Happy to sit on my ass and do nothing and wait for it to happen. And then, we just waited a bit too long.
Was the final catalyst the building of the studio?
Yes and no. We were happy to, because after the Takeout EP, we split ways with EMI, because we did Broken, which was kind of a commercial flop in their eyes. I would think, we sold like 5,000-6,000 copies of that thing. They were hoping for 25,000,
Right.
That spent all of this money, and we weren't recouping it because we didn't have a big single. They'd made the video for the wrong song.
Yeah. What would you have chosen for a video then?
we never really had hit songs. Let's be honest. Like I don't know. Like
that's a tricky one. If you look at the album, you go, well, Broken. What would be it can't be Be Strange, Too Strange. It can't be More Than Life, Too Slow.
Yeah, it was
Schizoid, kind of guilty, maybe.
It was a cool rocking song. Yeah, but like Guilty, the vocals were super cuck.
Yeah, but I mean, still.
Yeah, I don't know. There were just too many, and it's a series of decisions. It's not one big thing that, it's always a combination of stuff.
I know Paul is
one thing leads to another, and yeah, I mean, you asked about the studio. No, we were happy to put our money into it because we split from EMI. Now we don't have access to all the big studios. So the logical thing was, Paris was a great engineer. And we thought, let's just, invest money into the studio. We will always have a place to record for free. It's like, it seems too good to be true.
Right.
But I think what then happened was Paris was a little bit distracted with getting all of that set up, and the management of the band almost took a back seat, and that's when things fizzled out in terms of planning the next big tour, and his attention was perhaps a little bit too divided.
Was he looking to the future to other things rather than thinking just Lithium?
Well, I mean, I'm sure he was thinking, oh, I can also record other bands and all of that. But I don't think it was a conscious decision to, you know,
oh, I don't know,
to do the band in. I never felt like that. Yeah, it was just, we almost became secondary maybe to his vision for what the studio is going to be.
I mean, out of all of that came Xenon Super Troopers, which to me is the best sounding Lithium album recording ever.
It's also a little bit like some of the songs are super really well done, and others are like
Save Me is one that bugs me.
Yeah, there's some that felt more like demos we never, and I mean, to some degree the album was never actually finished. I mean, we had been having
What would
issues.
you say if I told you I've got all the DAT tapes for that?
Oh wow. Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
Paul has it
vocally it was definitely better. I was happier with that.
Yeah.
There were still moments that you know, I should have redone. But what happened was we had finished a bunch of songs. We had kind of finished tracking the majority of the things, and then we went on to the Van Summer Tour.
Right.
And while we were away for a couple of weeks, Paris was doing the final mixes of the stuff. So we weren't really involved in the final kind of production and mixing of those songs. And then we came back. We were going to finish the last couple of bits and bobs. And yeah, I mean, Simon literally put his sticks down in the middle of Big White Beast. We had started recording Big White Beast.
Oh, wow.
Was the last track that we hadn't finished. And yeah, things had kind of gotten to a point between Simon and Paris that were, you know, just too far down that road, and he just put his sticks down and told me to get back, and went out the door, and that was the end.
Ouch.
Basically with Lithium and Paris. We finished then on Super Troopers, put it out, but we never kind of recovered from that.
You didn't have a proper distribution either for that.
No, I think did we do it with Nebula Boss? I think was they were doing deals with Musica.
Right.
Yeah, we put it out with Nebula Boss. They were like an indie label affiliated with one of the big labels. I can't remember who, to be honest.
Right. Okay, chat, you're listening now to Stampede Stanley from the Xenon Super Troopers album. Here we go. Let's turn it up. Tell you what, that album is so good.
I like it.
It's such a, I think it's a very true reflection or true view of seeing the progression of the band, particularly from Broken, because after Broken came the EP, the Takeout EP.
Yes.
And that in itself was a massive step away from Broken.
I thought Takeout was awesome. It was supposed to be the second album, but because of, you know, not recouping their investment essentially on Broken, they decided, no, we're not going to do a full album, we're just going to do the EP. But yeah, working with Theo on that, Theo and Peter Pilson together, was super cool.
Wow.
That was, yeah, like we just like really clicked. We recorded at some weird little studio in town, a friend of Paris's. I forget what they were called. But yeah, that like sound-wise, and we managed to capture that kind of raw edge. Mostly through alcohol. Again, I was like stuck in my like.
See, alcohol's good for you.
It has its moments.
It's
I
not.
like
It's
yeah,
not.
Neil Cox, our A&R guy, like literally walked the streets of Cape Town and came back with a bottle of Jack Daniels, and I just got
Bloody hell.
tanked and then smashed out the vocals for Soul Trip and whatever. And
But how damaging is doing that to your vocals?
I don't know. I guess I was kind of used to doing that live, so it made more sense. I couldn't get into the gears. I couldn't get into the vibe of it, and yeah, I mean, alcohol definitely helps to kind of give you that extra bit of push when you need it. It was before the days of.
By no means are we condoning alcohol to get an edge of a drinking chat.
This is coming from a man who hasn't had a drink in nearly 7 years.
And good for you.
I found a different way of doing it.
Okay, so the EP comes out. You said it was meant to be an album. But because of everything changing,
we had actually signed, the original deal was for 4 albums.
God damn! Imagine what could have happened.
Yeah. Sadly, like Nancy Hillary was working at EMI.
Right. And Neil was the guy that signed you.
Yeah,
right?
Neil Cox. The
Neil
two
Cox,
of them.
Yeah.
She was actually leaving to go to BMG, but she was the one that picked up the stuff when Paris sent it, and it was like, shit, Neil, you've got to check these guys out. And then they picked us up. Nancy buggered off. We did the 1 album, and then Neil left. He immigrated to Australia or New Zealand.
New Zealand, yeah.
Yeah, and then we were left with a bunch of people who really weren't into what we were doing. So from their side, it kind of fizzled out. We did the EP, which also, I mean, it did okay. Soul Trip got a bit of airplay on 5 and a couple of the stations. It was probably the closest thing we ever had to an actual hit. And yeah.
Was that Soul Trip that was Soul Trip or Sick of You or Sick of You?
Soul Trip,
the video that you did for Sick of You is just fucking hilarious. I mean, just get over to the YouTube page, the demo version of Sick of You. Yeah, I'm not sure if the video is up on the Lithium Xenon Super Troopers YouTube page. I don't think so. But that video is hilarious. I do have it somewhere myself.
What happened to the Be Strange video? That's just disappeared. Nobody seems to have it, but that was a piece of. That was a moment in time that we could never take back.
Wait a minute. I'm sure I've got it somewhere, but I'm not playing it on here. Don't worry. Don't worry. Yeah. I'm not going to play it on here. Anyway, listening to Soul Trip off the Takeout EP from 1996. Okay. Anyway, so greetings to Mike Naranjo. Jeez, that's a name from the past. Cool. Bloody hell. How you doing, Mike? Good to see you, mate. So EMI goes away. You do the building of the studio, and you do Xenon Super Troopers. Where the hell did you get the name from, Xenon Super Troopers?
Well, actually, Super Trooper lights.
ABBA, right?
Yeah. So Paul and I ended up working at I think it was the ZZ Top concert. We used to work for. Well, I used to do a lot of work with Andrew Mack and his company Crew U. So we used to, do all the roadieing for big shows and whatever. And Paul came to help out at the ZZ Top one. We were mucking about, carrying stuff around upstairs, and there was this massive spotlight in the corner, packed away. And he was like, hey, check at this! And the name of the spotlight is a Xenon Super Trooper, which is what ABBA was singing about. A Super Trooper lights are going to find you.
Wow!
Talking about the Xenon Super Trooper spotlight.
That is such a weird connection.
Yeah, so Xenon was spelled Xenon, like the gas.
Right.
So we used to smoke a lot of weed back in those days, and we used to joke about going to Planet Xenon. It just became a thing. So we basically were the Xenon Super Troopers, and we just decided to spell it differently. So that's where the name came from. Totally random.
Weed and alcohol, folks. Weed and alcohol. There you go. So off the I was it the Live at 5? Oh no, what was it called? Where you did the Big White Beast? Was that Live at 5?
Yes.
That was the, and I still remember.
I think we were up for maybe Opi Kopi or something, and then we got invited to go there and do that. I think it was around about the same time, probably 98, something like that.
Because I know that the live showing of Big White Beast with that comedian guy, I can't remember his name, but anyway, it doesn't really matter.
Blissmas.
There you go. Yeah. There was a question that was asked, was why are you breaking up? And Simon went into as Simon would, go into a bit of a rant about the music business being shit and South Africa and all that sort of stuff. How do you see it now as a solo artist? Because try and take out the social side of it, social media side of it, and all that sort of stuff, and try and, you know, how do you think it's different? Is it better, worse?
I don't know. I don't really feel like I'm part of it at the moment, to be honest.
Because there's no more big labels left anymore, is there? I mean, it's like Universal Music and, you know, Sony and whatever else.
Yeah,
but really
I mean, there are a lot of guys kind of doing their own independent thing. I think some of the bigger bands still have the backing of people with deep pockets, which always helps.
Yeah.
If you can find somebody that, you know, will invest in your art, then you're lucky, you know. You can wax lyrical about being independent and doing things your own way, but at the end of the day, like if you don't have the bucks to back it up, then you're always going to be at a disadvantage. You're always going to be struggling up a slippery slope. You know, you can only do so much.
I mean, at the point of the band breaking up, I was overseas in the UK trying to, you know, become an adult, I guess. But you guys literally at 98, 99, that was it. Fell apart. And then what happened thereafter?
Yeah, well, I mean, we broke up. We played our last gig in April, I think it was, of 99. And then I basically proceeded to drink myself to death for a couple of months, like just hitting it so hard. Like obviously the disappointment now of this thing that I thought was going to, you know, be my life is now over. And my girlfriend and I had broken up, and it was just like, you know, it was a bad time.
Right.
And yeah, I started going down a very dark spiral one way, and basically, yeah, it was like the decision was to either Simon and I were going to go overseas and try and do something there, because Paul and Ian were definitely staying, they didn't want to go. And then the problem for me was I had a South African passport, which was 1999. Like it wasn't that easy to just pick up and go. And you know, Simon had a British passport and whatnot, so he was ready to go. So he did end up going overseas. I got in my car and drove to Joburg just to kind of get away from this negative thing that was perpetuating in Cape Town.
So you got away from one negative.
So it was just like, yeah, I wasn't doing anything productive. I was on a very I don't know, like I didn't want to, you know, it was kind of like slow suicide in a way.
Right.
You know, when you're just kind of given up on everything, and it's like.
So you're in Joburg now.
Yeah.
What the hell happened to you? Because this is the part that I don't know anything about, apart from a couple of things.
What the 18 years in Joburg?
Yeah.
I didn't mean to go for so long. It just kind of happened that way. So what happened was I had some friends up in Joburg, the guys from Plum and Seed, who were like some of my favorite local bands at the time. And Seed were going to go over to Canada. That was their plan. They were incredible. They were like way ahead of their time. I thought they were going to do big things overseas. Their vocalist was a Canadian chap. So they were going to go off to Canada. They basically got stopped, saying you couldn't get their visas and stuff. They didn't want to let 3 long-haired reprobates from South Africa into the country. Like when you arrive at the airport with your guitars. So anyway, so I was a vocalist without a band, and they were a band without a vocalist because G went to Canada and they were stuck with no one. So Dog was the whole time on the phone. Hey, Dave, why don't you come to Jovo? Why don't you come to Jovo? So that was kind of my lifeline, was like, okay, I need to get out of this negative mess I've created now in Cape Town and go do something. So that was kind of my only plan, was just to go up there and I'll jam with these guys and go, do something different. So we started playing together. We formed a band called GIMP with the drummer Rob Stelik, who was he played in VOD and a bunch of punk bands in Cape Town. Great drummer. And we worked like super hard for about 6 months and wrote all of this really cool, self-indulgent, like prog rock. I don't know what it was, dude. Like angry, like very angry as usual. But we never even played one gig. We had gotten to the point where like, okay, we've got a half-hour set of cool music. We'd organize a gig for a couple of months down the line, and then Rob was like, sorry guys, I'm getting married next month and we're going to live in England.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So I was like,
not again.
Not again. So I was literally like, fuck this music industry. I'm done. Like, like after the Lithium thing and then this, and I just put all my energy for 6 months into that. We recorded 2 demos actually. I must find them. GIMP stuff. So then I was just like, I'm done. I don't want to play music. And I literally stopped playing, writing, doing anything kind of music for about 2 or 3 years. I was just like, no, I don't want to be in a band. Maybe 2 years. Eventually, like, I mean, as a musician, as a creative, when you're not producing stuff, you're not, getting it out of your system, it just becomes toxicity in your body, it only leads to bad things. So eventually I was like, okay, I need to do something. And I just started writing a lot of material, but I was like, I'm done with like heavy rock bands. I'm just playing acoustic stuff. So out of that, the Native era was born. It was still with
not doing heavy stuff. Go to Native. I mean, Native is fucking heavy, dude.
It's heavy music, but we played it acoustically. It was like a weird dynamic of
brilliant.
I just wanted to try something a bit different, and then Native, like, it was a super cool period of songwriting for me. Like, I wrote some of my favorite songs of all time in that sort of 2-year period. We recorded a bunch of stuff. We played a lot of gigs. We were also just starting to get a bit of momentum. And then I became a dad. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to take a little bit of a break, like do the especially in the new baby phase. I don't want to miss out on all of that. So we kind of paused the Native stuff. And then, that just fizzled out, even because like things just move on. You think they're always going to be there, and like, we'll come back to this in 6 months' time or whatever.
Damn it, Dave.
Like, then so buying houses and getting married and settling down and all of these things, and so nothing really ever became of that. Also,
wow, another hit to the fucking gut.
No, I'm definitely doing a David Beretta Owens Native Days album. Because I mean, it's like I wrote all of those songs and they're just sitting kind of collecting dust, and there were some real like magic moments there that I should get round to actually putting down. So, and all through this, like, I played a lot of solo shows and supported my friends playing gigs, and like I will always, even when I'm doing nothing, I'm still doing stuff, you know, like in the background or
So
working
what
on ideas.
was rock bottom for you then? Because I mean, I know a little bit about it. And again, you don't have to touch on this, but you know, you said there's nothing's off off topic.
Yeah, no, look, I mean,
Obviously, getting divorced and then just like you know, that was another sucker punch. And
yeah, well, look, I mean, like the Order of Things album was born out of my ex-wife. Well, before she became my ex-wife, you know, she could see I was really struggling because you know, like I wasn't doing anything musically and whatnot, and she actually pushed me to, why don't you, you know, record some stuff with Theo, which we duly did, but by then it was unfortunately too late, like too little too late, you know. But yeah, I mean, I think the lesson for me is that I need to write music, I need to record music, I need to put stuff out there. It's you know, I do design, I work in advertising, I'm a designer, and I like to think I'm a fair designer, I'm a good designer, but I've always felt that performing is kind of where I excel. You know, I think if I had to choose, it would always be music.
as a creative person, you got to have an outlet.
Yeah.
So
yeah, if I
music
had
is
to,
your muse.
if I had to pick one, it would be the music, the bands. Like
now coming back down to Cape Town. I mean, that's okay. So you met Stace, your beautiful, wonderful wife, and then you.
Okay, wait, no, there's still more before.
Okay.
So after Native, there was quite a break before I kind of really did anything. I recorded a song with a band called The Drift, with a metal band from Joburg. I did a track with them on their album. And then Mark, the bass player, had recorded a bunch of demos with Tom Hughes and Chris van der Walt, who are part of Volvadinia at the moment. They had recorded a whole bunch of songs, but with no vocals. So the three of them had just like tracked a whole bunch of stuff, and it was super mad, like quite punky at times, or like a little bit weird. And then Mark just called me out of the blue one day, and he's like, "Hey Dave, like I've got this other project I'm working on, and like I really love what you did with the track on the Drift album. Can I send you the stuff to have a listen to, see if you're interested?" So I'm like, yeah, cool. That sounds cool. He's like, yeah, we called PitVirus. I'm like, oh, that's such a cool name. This is rad, I dig it. And I started listening to the tracks, and I'm like, oh, wow, okay, now this I like. This I like a lot. Just like punky and fast and mad. And I was like, okay. So there were about 6 tracks that I started listening to, designed the band logo, everything before I even like started writing. And then from those tracks, you know, started getting the ideas together, and then went round to Tom's place, started putting some of the vocals down, and that became the PitVirus EP.
Is this now available online, or is it not?
Yeah. There's it's on Bandcamp.
It's on Bandcamp. Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
I think I sent you my Linktree.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, well, I haven't had a chance to look at it yet.
On that. I slapped.
But it's not on Spotify or anything like that.
No. I should look at getting it up. I mean, they're like, those tracks are really, really good.
They are
the funny
awesome.
story about PitVirus though is that I actually, when I sent Mark the logo, PitVirus, he's like, it's actually Piss Virus, dude. So I'm like, PitVirus, no, Piss Virus.
PitVirus.
Apparently, PitVirus is a song or a lyric from the band Amen.
Right.
It was some of the snot guys who later had a band called Amen. Anyway, I'm like, dude, I can't.
You can't. No.
PitVirus. So
PitVirus sounds good.
I fought for PitVirus long before there was coronavirus. So, and again, like that was super cool. You know, we were singing wrote a song about load shedding and xenophobia and Zuma's
Fire
fire
pool.
pool, you know, all that kind of stuff. It was quite political and
You must send me the stuff, dude. I'd love to play it on my radio show soon.
Go.
Yeah. Must.
So that was kind of just taking off and getting somewhere. We played a few shows. I had to I was smoking cigarettes back in those days, and I actually
your vocals, man.
I had to quit the cigarettes so that I could sing the PitVirus songs.
Okay.
Because I pushed myself much further on that. I was determined to write interesting. It was hard and heavy, but lots of melody. And I thought a little bit more about
thought-provoking lyrics
and picking in more interesting melodies. I listened back to Broken and those early Lithium things, and it's a bit wishy-washy, you know. It's
right.
I just slapped the first thing that came into my head down and never really go back and revisit it.
Right.
Whereas I think that was also the from playing covers for so long and these cool catchy tunes, why is this song catchy and mine isn't? And
right.
Well, he's actually doing some really interesting things, and he's thinking about the notes that he's picking,
right?
You know, I try to craft those melodies with a little bit more thought and make them interesting, make them you know, catchy. So that was super cool. And then I moved back to Cape Town. And that was the end of PitVirus.
Now I remember you telling me when I saw you for the first time in Jesus, I don't know. The last time I saw you was 96 probably, because I was overseas at the time. I probably saw you 99 maybe something like that at a Lithium reunion or just one of the Lithium reunion gigs in the 2000s. And I remember when you came back from Joburg and you still said to me, dude, Joburg, they really fucked me up. Sleeping in a car, I had to sell everything to survive.
Got pretty dark at one point, but mostly through my own bad decisions, you know,
lessons learned.
Yeah. I mean, some things were out of my control, but also, you know, didn't handle it well.
But this is the stuff that molds you, right? That makes you who you are now.
Well, yeah, I like to think so. I mean, we all go through ups and downs, and
yeah.
You know, there's more coming, and you know, there'll be good times, and you can enjoy them. But it's gonna be tough again in, you know, a couple of months or a couple of years. It's just
right.
It's the way it goes.
Yeah.
So unless you can learn how to navigate through those difficult times a little bit more, you know, with a clearer head, you're just going to kind of repeat the same mistakes over and over
again. Yeah. So Cape Town, you come back after God knows how long, like a stupid amount, 17, 18 years or whatever.
Yeah, it was about, I left in 99, came back in 2017.
And was your first thought Lithium?
Well, it was definitely on my radar. What actually happened was, of course, up in Joburg, I also did the Hey Now show at Barnyard with Danny DeVets. And that kind of, I mean, after Native, it fizzled out. I was doing the PitVirus thing, and that was picking up a bit, just starting to happen. And then I got a call from Danny saying he's doing this alternative 80s show at the Barnyard. Or he's pitching it to the Barnyard.
Right.
Because it's not, I mean, they usually do their kind of cheesy 80s stuff. So he had this idea to do, you know, there's a whole other side of the 80s, the kind of alternative, darker side.
The better side.
So he put the show together, and, you know, we had a successful run for a couple of years. We played every couple of months around the Gauteng area. And that really kind of got my juices flowing again. Really reignited my passion for performing and being on stage, because, you know, PitVirus was just a studio project. We weren't actually performing live at that stage. So that really kind of got me grooving again. And then Ian and Paul came up to Joburg for some business, and they ended up, they came to one of the Hey Now shows, and I don't think they had ever seen me perform like that. And like by that stage, I was a much stronger, more confident vocalist than I ever was in Lithium. I could sing more songs, longer, stronger, more confidently. So they were like, "Oh, this is cool." And then at that point, I was still kind of thinking about moving to Cape Town. I knew that I wanted to get out of Joburg, and we, you know, Stacey and I had started talking about maybe, you know, dreaming about coming back to Cape Town at some point. So I'd had that discussion with Ian and Paul then, like, oh, if we come back, you know, Lithium, like, yeah, everyone was keen. Even Ian at that point was kind of seemed quite into it. So then, you know, 6 months after that, we actually made the move, and we did it. By that stage, Ian had decided that he didn't want to do it. He had kind of moved on and
right.
You know, said happy, you know, happy for us to sort of carry on and do our thing, but he didn't want to be involved. So, but I was still keen, you know. I was like, come on, really, like, this is it, let's do it.
One of the first times that I saw you back in Cape Town, you were watching then the original Deadbeats playing at a biker, whatever place it was, and you were there. That's the first time I'd seen you in God knows. Jesus.
Oh yeah, that was in OBS.
In OBS, yeah. And it's funny how those little moments sort of like click together. Those little puzzle pieces all click together, because you're in the Deadbeats now as the singer, and it's just so weird because Gavin was playing guitar and singing. You were on the sidelines with me and Stacey, and we were watching and having a good time and singing, and I was drinking stupid amounts of beer. Nothing's changed, by the way. And then fast forward, how many years? 4 years down the line?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a funny story because I'd kind of, like, my time in the Hey Now show was like my audition reel for the Deadbeats.
Yeah,
and I said to Gav one day, oh, I'd like to come and sing a song with you guys one night or whatever, you know.
Right.
I'd like to come sing some songs with the band, and then kind of just, he was like, oh, you can just be the singer in the band. I was like, okay.
And by the way, chat, Lithium didn't really happen. As we touched on a little bit earlier, unfortunately, things happened within the band, and it just kind of fizzled out once again, unfortunately. But there's always hope. I always live in hope. A little seed has been planted, chat. Don't worry. Stormy, how you doing, man? Good to see you again. A Lithium cover band by Lithium. Yeah. What is it? 10 of the best hits you'll never want to hear, and there's 5 songs on there or something. So there was, you guys are flaunting around with the idea of doing something stupid like that. Jesus, only Lithium could do that.
I'd started tracking some, what I thought at the time was going to be new Lithium demos.
Right.
Sooner or later than now, some cool stuff that I had lying around that I thought was quite Lithium-y. And then nothing really became of that. But I'd started working with Michael Naranjo and getting some basics down. And they were sounding pretty fat and rad, and everything was cool. And then, when the Lithium plug was pulled, I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to carry on with these tracks as David Beretta Owen songs, because I mean, they were my songs that I'd written anyway.
Yeah.
So 2 of those I've kind of released with Mike and CMD Music, just to kind of do something and get something out there. I mean, I've got, we tracked about must be 16, 17 songs and ideas. Kind of got the basics and demos down of that. Then lockdown happened.
Mm-hmm.
There was a gap for a year where we did nothing at all, and those songs just sat. And then coming out of that, I was like, okay, let's finish the ones that are closest to being finished, and we put Sooner or Later Than Now out, and Everything You more
Sooner
recently.
or Later, the what?
Sooner or Later Than Now.
sooner or later than now. It's never simple with Dave, chat. It is never simple with Dave.
Have you
Xenon
heard
Super
that? I'm sure I
Troopers.
sent
I
it to
haven't.
you,
No,
right?
I haven't heard it. No.
What?
Yeah,
Go,
terrible, terrible. This poor form. I can't play
check
it, by the
on
way.
the.
I can't play it anyway.
No,
Because
that's cool. But it's on the
is it on
link
Spotify and
to.
stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. I'll find it.
I'll send you some links.
So there you go, Chad. You can find out in the description below. You will see all the links to Dave's social stuff and everything. And now we're going to touch on, and that album is when did you release that solo album? Is it this year or last year?
No, it's not an album. It's just singles.
Oh, is it just a couple of singles? Okay,
Yeah,
sorry. Right. I thought it was an EP or something like that.
No. I wish. The bits and pieces are there. Mike went overseas for like 6 months on a contract to work there. He's just gotten back recently, so hopefully we'll find some time to actually jump in and finish these tracks.
Nice.
Yeah, there's some really cool stuff, and what's quite interesting is like the Order of Things album was quite chill. I didn't want to go super heavy. And like it kind of flopped,
right,
as we discussed earlier.
Yeah.
But then, so I was like, yeah, if I'm doing things now, I want to do my hard rock stuff. That's where my real passion is.
Okay.
So they're a little bit more meaty and
nice.
heavy. Like
okay, well, I'll definitely give it a listen. Yeah. I'll definitely give it a listen, and I shall procure it from somewhere and play it on one of my live shows.
Right, thanks,
and that's right, chat. I will be coming back with a live show real soon on Berg Studio.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, it's happening again every Friday from 12 to 3 or 1 to 4. I'm not quite sure yet, but it's going to be happening. Nice live radio show again. Now let's get into the meaty side of it, the Deadbeats. Man, you guys, if you love the 80s and you like rock and you like the alternative side of the 80s, chat, this is the fella to speak to. David Beretta Owens is the very awesome lead singer of the band and now guitarist as well. So you do a little bit of backing up on the guitar as well.
Yeah, we just decided to, the first kind of year or so, or 2 years really, playing with the Deadbeats was a little bit back and forth because, I joined, had to learn all of the songs that the guys were playing. Simon was the drummer at the time with the Deadbeats as well. So we kind of got our stuff together, started playing a few gigs, and then right at the sort of same time that Lithium was fizzling, the Lithium reunion was fizzling out, Simon and the Deadbeats were having a moment as well, and he kind of went his separate way from both bands. So Deadbeats were short of a drummer, and then Damien from Black Milk joined, which was super cool for a while. So we kind of, instead of really progressing, we like spent the next couple of months like him learning the set of songs that we already had.
Right.
So we played quite a few shows with demo, and it was kind of picking up. We were getting some regular gigs. Everything was looking cool, and then COVID clapped us. So we had literally just got verbal commitment for a residency once a month going forward in the March of 2020, like the beginning of March, and then later that month was the lockdown. Yeah. So obviously everything kind of fizzled out for a while. We didn't even see each other or jam or anything. There was such hectic restrictions and traveling and all of that, and not allowed to see people. So things kind of just fizzled out for a while. Then it got to the point where okay, we can actually physically get together and practice again. So we started we started jamming with Art. We got to a point where even just before lockdown, where things with Damien weren't really working out. He was just spread a bit thin. His sessions with a lot of bands. He's in high demand.
And he just had a baby as well, so it's
he
like
just had a baby and all of
jeepers,
these things, and he couldn't quite commit to the level that we wanted.
Right.
We needed him to. So I think we had played one gig with Art before the lockdown. So we'd kind of just got the, like Art had just learned all the songs. We'd spent another couple of months like not learning new stuff. But then in our lockdown time, we decided, okay, well, we're not outperforming. Let's use this time to learn some new songs.
Right.
I'd been talking about playing second guitar, because a lot of those songs, like you need that second guitar just for a bit of backup. So we kind of slowly moved forward and prepared ourselves for we knew at some point things were going to open up again. We started the YouTube channel. We recorded some live vids of us.
Those were absolutely brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. And in the link below is the Deadbeats YouTube link. So get in there and have a look.
We never intended to even release those, to be honest. We did those recordings as a kind of promo demo to try and fish for some gigs. It's like, people want to see your material. What do you sound like? So yeah, we kept busy. We worked hard. And we've just like keep adding new songs, building our repertoire. I mean, when I started jamming with them, we had like just 35 songs maybe in the pool of stuff, and now we like got 55. It's like it was quite a jump, like 20 new songs. Just also like because we're playing more regularly now, we got a lot of return customers.
Yes.
People coming in. You don't want to hear the same song.
This
all
guy.
The time,
and the nice thing is, Chad,
keep it interesting.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Chad, if you are on my Discord, you can go into the travel section. You'll have to scroll up a fair way. You'll see some Deadbeats tracks and so on, but also in the description below is the link to the YouTube channel. You know what to do. Go and subscribe to that channel.
I think maybe I was a bit of a bad influence on the Deadbeats to some degree, because
why?
They started off, before they were called the Deadbeats, they were called the B-sides, because they were only like playing kind of obscure
alternative,
that nobody had ever heard. And now we do like Aha's Take on Me, But I was like, I don't think
so. No, you're right. You're right when you said that. Paul said, I don't think.
We heavy it up and we deadbeat the fuck out of it as well.
There you go. And it's awesome. I mean,
we put our own spin on things, But
the nice residency that you have at the Noordhoek Farm Village, whatever it's called, Cafe Roo is such a good vibe. Every time whenever we can, and we're coming to the 10th of September gig, we are going to be there. We're going to be there for the whole weekend because it's Sue's 50th.
Oh, wow.
So she says, we will go as long as David does a shout out for me. So Dave, you know what you got to do. So we're going to be there, man. It's going to be awesome to see you guys. And every time that we've come down, it's just been fantastic. We brought our lawyer friends last time down, and they were like, we want to get them up to Langebaan to do shows and whatnot else. So yeah, hopefully things are moving in the right direction.
I mean, I know some people like, but it's just a cover band, But
it's not. But it's not just a cover band. It's not just a cover band. It's your spin on songs that are not as popular as people think of the 80s. They think spandex and big hair and shoulder pads. This is the other side of it. The naughty kids around the corner having a naughty little cigarette. Yeah.
Now, when you drop Bauhaus's Passion of Lovers, people just kind of
happy days
staring blankly at you. And we're like, we do what we want. Here's Nick Kershaw.
Just nothing wrong with a bit of Kershaw, man. Every now and then, it's awesome. It's awesome. I
grew up listening to this music, and to get to perform it, like
I was just going to ask you, what's it like?
I love it. I do.
Dave is like an energy bunny, Chad. If you haven't noticed, Dave can't keep still, man. The dude is always fucking on it. And look who's just turned up in chats, my brother Paul. We do put it across as a rocker. In fact, all the songs, we have a real vibe of the old days. Yes, you do. And you put your own spin in it, which is important. Hey, Paul, how you doing, man? Floristic, how you doing? Good to see you in chat. We're actually coming to the end of the chat now. Can you believe it already? I mean,
we've just gotten started.
The thing is, we've pretty much touched on everything. And we've only just gotten started. Yeah, we talked about Lithium. We talked about PitVirus, Native, and all the other stuff that's gone on. I mean, GIMP. There you go.
Oh, yeah,
look, there's the Lithium.
All my band stuff. Here we go. It's the Lithium Super Troopers.
That is awesome. I still want to get a Lithium tattoo.
Deadbeats.
Oh, there's the Deadbeats. The eyes, nice. The skull.
Native.
Jesus.
There's a little Lithium guy also, and then PitVirus up there.
Up there, yeah, there it is.
Yeah,
nice.
I am my own biggest fan, apparently. I mean, if you don't like your own music, like,
how can you play
something wrong?
Yeah, well, exactly.
It's like I always put the PitVirus EP on because, like, I love the songs those guys wrote, and I love what.
Okay, fuck it. You need to send me that shit, dude. If it's in your link tree, then awesome. I'll pick it up from there. But
yes,
okay.
In the link. It's actually, I didn't even know about Linktree until the other day. It's quite a cool.
It is very cool. Everything
I've
in
just
one.
Got the free version, but I see there's a way. I think if you subscribe to it, you can actually do cool things with it.
It's very cool. Yeah. Art Pereira, you
fucking
beauty.
Be asked with like hooking myself up with a website or anything.
There's Art. He says, "Putting the drummer in the Deadbeat sucks." I remember. I remember when I did my podcast with Art. Like, we must do another one, Art. Ages ago, I just said to him, "Art, how's it going, man?" He goes, "Fuck my life." That's the first thing he said, and that was it. The podcast was off and running. Absolutely brilliant, man. There we go. Art is the drummer in the Deadbeats, and for the very shortest of moments was the new Lithium drummer too.
We didn't even have one practice.
No, not even one. It's terrible. Absolutely.
I'm sorry, Art.
Who knows? I reckon.
Paul.
Yeah, got to blame.
Pull the plug.
Got to blame somebody. Aesop, Swarm, and Big White Beast. Those are the three songs that we want to have re-recorded with you, Art and Dave and Paul.
We should do a best of Lithium. And
the best 10 tracks of Lithium, but only 3 songs.
No, but like pick a couple from Broken and whatnot and redo them like they should have been done.
I don't see why not. I don't see why not. There's facilities around to record it. Do it.
Yeah,
why not? Yeah. Plant that little seed. The little seed is now planted. There we go. Do it. Anyway, chat. There we go. We have now come to the end of the chat with Dave. Dave, it's been absolutely fucking awesome to speak to you, man. It's been a long time coming. I've been asking you for fucking years.
I've been busy, bro.
Procrastinator.
Yeah. I nearly called and cancelled this evening. Been a tough day at work. Oh my god.
But hopefully I've cheered you up some, man. You're always smiling, Dave. That's what I love about you, man. You're always smiling. You're always up for it, man. Our 90s set, you got a 90s set as well, so not just 80s anymore.
Well, everyone keeps bugging us for a 90s set, and we keep toying with the idea. Maybe it's time.
I'm not so sure.
I mean, it's taken us 4 years to get to our 55 80s songs, so
what's another
I'll
4
give
years?
You a shout in another 4 years when you're ready for our 90s set.
Oh,
God. Where would you even start picking a set list to play from the 90s?
Well, I mean, I could think of one band you could start off with. Lithium.
Yeah.
No.
Lithium cover band. That's going to be a thing, I swear.
Anyway, guys, chat, thank you so much for being here, man. It's awesome.
Thanks
David,
for listening,
thanks for chatting and telling us your life story in music so far.
I see Art commented about the Band Slam reunion. That was an idea
Oh,
started
yes.
talking about
Yes.
so long
Nine
ago.
and so on, yeah.
Yeah, and then we had actually started having some serious discussions
Oh, really? Yeah.
with an event promoter, one of the big festival guys got on board, and he was keen. I got verbal commitments from all the original bands. Everyone was into it, and then COVID fucked us. But
Damn it.
now things are happening again. Who knows?
Yeah,
Maybe we'll
there you
get
go.
that Lithium cover band together.
We'll pencil it
Get
in.
out and play some tunes.
It's a pleasure, Carolyn. Thank you so much for being here. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Floristic and everybody else, thank you so much for being here. Dave, I'm going to play out. What do you want me to play out with, man? What do you reckon?
You pick.
Me pick? Oh, this is dangerous. I know what we're going to play out with. Okay, chat. Brace yourselves. We're going to go to a dark screen, and Dave and I are going to mute ourselves and say goodbye to you all, and we'll just put this up on the screen. Cheers, Dave.
Cheers, Trev. Love you, buddy.
Alrighty. Cheers, everybody. Enjoy this track as I play out with the wonderful, the bloody awesome Aesop. Come on. iTunes, you suck. There we go. Cheerio, chat. See you all tomorrow for some more gaming.